You're listening to Underestimated, the podcast that helps overwhelmed small business owners turn their size into their unfair advantage so they can grow without burning out. Now here's your host, Shawna Suckow.
When it comes to sales, do you feel immediately like uncomfortable, like it's something you just don't really like to do, but you're a small business owner, so at some point you have to sell things? Well, my guest today is here to hopefully simplify that for all of us. I am super excited to have my friend Bethany George on with us today. She is the owner of Sales Mystique, and I'm going to read this so I get it right. She helps B2B companies demystify their sales and understand what it takes to hire their first salesperson. So, Bethany, welcome. Thank you for being here. I think this is such a good topic because so many people that create a business need that leap of faith to then, okay, how do I sell the thing that I'm so passionate about creating?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so excited to be on your podcast because you and I are made of the same cloth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I remember the first time, so I was speaking and you were in the audience, and I remember calling you out because I was talking about personal branding and I was like, "What's your name, Purple Lady?" And for those of you who are just listening but can't see, she's decked out in purple and it's just like her color. And she had such this amazing personal brand. And fast forward, I don't know, it was a few years, you were in the audience again for something different. And I still remembered you because personal branding matters, right?
It's a cheat code in a way.
It is. It is. And so many people just would rather blend in out of safety because that's what professionals do. And anyway, that's a whole other topic that I could obviously speak for hours about. But I want to dive in because there's something that you said about um, the importance of hiring your first salesperson. Let's start there because I
You're
think
not
that
going small. You're just
we're
gonna dive
going,
right in.
oh, and who's this? Who's this on?
This is
Okay.
Raven, my black kitty cat.
Okay. That's Raven.
Hmm.
That's a great name. Okay. So let's talk immediately about this thing that tripped me up. The first time I hired a salesperson, it was awful. So help me understand the right way to do that.
Well, one of the things that helps to have a foundation with initially is to understand what has worked for you in your business. Yeah, I think that's one of the things as business owners, I mean, myself included, and the cobbler's children have no shoes. I've had to go to coaches and be like, help me look at this
Yeah.
too. We find a way that works for us. We find a way to build trust. We find a way to build relationships. We find a way to build our community, our audience that works for us. And we don't always understand what is actually happening. What is the nuances here? One of the things about sales that is so forgotten, and I'm curious of your take from the marketing side of this. Sales is an intimate part of your business. It is the first, I mean, marketing could be the very first touch with your audience, but the idea with sales is it's the first time that your business has a direct interaction, potentially with you, the business owner. You are making first contact. You're building first, and opportunity, whether you are trustworthy, whether you are worth buying from. And that's something that you kind of learn almost subconsciously with practice. And then suddenly you hire somebody to do that for you. And that hiring, what I see happen over and over again is that people are like, they fall into this old mode of corporate sales methodology. Well, what is a salesperson supposed to do? Smile and dial, pick up the phone, go out there and meet these numbers and these metrics. But they don't even understand what they mean. A lot of times the business owners weren't even doing that method before. And it might not work for your audience, for your business, for your industry. And yet you're asking someone else to do it, even though you don't know how to do it that way. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it exactly makes sense. So what's the pathway? What's the solution?
It starts with that business owner and really breaking down what has worked. And I'm gonna pick on you, Shawna, because we're having this conversation. So what was the reason why you said, okay, I'm ready to hire somebody? What was that moment in your business?
It was the thing that was falling by the wayside as we grew, and it's the thing that was so important. and we were building something on a deadline. I'm like, okay, unless
Mm,
somebody is focusing on the sales like full time, this isn't going to
yes.
happen.
Yeah.
So it was pressure, and it was my lack of availability, and to be honest, it was the thing that I hated doing the most, and so I was putting it at the bottom of my to-do list. It just
Yeah.
wasn't getting done.
Yeah. What was it, that business at the time? What were you
Uh,
selling essentially?
I that was back in my event planner days. I had created my first trade show. It was
Mm,
actually a consumer show, not a trade show. I created my
okay.
first consumer show, and there was a hard deadline because the show had to happen in August, and we had to find all of these exhibitors and sponsors.
Yeah. So I mean, it was outreach, right? It was asking people, come be a part of this, you know, invest in this. I assume
Yeah,
that's what the ask was.
yeah.
Now tell me what was the failure, if you're willing to share, with the hire that what do you think happened there?
I knew my vision inside and out.
Mhm.
And I hired somebody who had worked in hotels when I was a planner, and I we had this rapport, and I really enjoyed working with him. And I assumed that I could just bring him on board and go, okay, there you
Handing
go.
off.
And
Yes.
he would just hit the ground running. And he did, what he knew how to do, but it was apples and oranges. And I didn't prepare him well enough at all because I was
Mhm.
intimidated. I was like, well, he's the salesperson. You know, I, what am, how should I tell him how to do his job? Because I hate
Mhm.
sales and he's good at it. So I just left him to kind of do his thing.
hmm And what didn't work for him? So he knew he had some sales experience, but what was the disconnect? Were you able to figure that out?
He did well. I mean, it wasn't like fabulous, but he did all right.
Mhm.
Um, but he just kind of went off in different directions that I didn't envision for the types of exhibitors and sponsors at this conference. And also, I didn't like put like we didn't have the expectations talk, and it was just a mismatch.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way. I know I just totally put you on the spot there.
That's okay. I am an open book. I'm happy to be an example of failure if it helps other people, always.
Well, and that's why I wanted to ask you to share it because you already have that experience, and looking at a very specific story helps people say, yeah, same. Like I relate to that versus trying to be like real general about it. Well,
Hmm.
your story is, I mean, I've heard it hundreds of times at this point. It's amazing how many business owners have that same experience.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple different things that happen. So selling for one business is not the same across all businesses. Selling is not the same person to person. And that's what makes it so hard to be directly transferable. It's not like accounting. Numbers are numbers are numbers for the most part. And so if you hire a bookkeeper who does bookkeeping for others, it's numbers are numbers. And there might be some, if someone is a bookkeeper for this industry, it might be, there might be some nuanced differences for another
Right.
industry, but it's generally the same. But sales is so specific. Uh, and one of the things there's two things I really want to point out right away. One was he didn't know who your people were, so he was kind of making it up as he went. And a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
times, what yes, um, when you jump in the heat of it, and you're like, okay, I don't already have a network. Me being the salesperson, right? If I jump into a new business, I don't have a network. I have to make my own. Where am I going? But you're going to chase whatever's the easiest lead. That might not be the right lead. And if you don't have like, this is exactly who we're going for, this is where you can find them, this is what we're going to ask of them, this the process that you probably have been doing to some extent beforehand,
Hmm.
but you didn't have the time to take them under your wing and be like, let me show you how we do this, because
Yeah.
it's a we.
That's the other thing. I waited too long. I waited too long. And by the time he came in, um, I had things were moving so quickly and growing, and I didn't have time at that point. Even if I loved sales, I didn't have time to impart much to him because of how quickly things were moving at that stage. So that's a hard lesson that I learned too. Because I waited too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. So part of what the work that I help with business owners in this space is I go, okay, when are you ready to hire somebody? Are you ready? And
Mhm.
part of that is knowing what works for you,
Yeah.
knowing your process and having that real clear. And some of those processes are 100% transferable. Go to this event, meet these people, have a coffee, do this thing, follow up with this email
Mhm.
sequence.
Mhm.
Some of it is personality specific. And this is something where talk about my trust styles. And Shawna, you're going to love this because I know
I
you talk about, you ready?
I'm
So,
I'm so excited for this. I feel like I need my tiny hands from like SNL. I have a set of those tiny hands and I feel like I should be like clapping my little tiny hands. I'm so excited for this. Please
I can see
continue.
that. I can see that. So you talk about big dogs and little dogs in your book, which is why it got me so excited when I saw your book released. I'm
Yes.
like, yes. So my trust styles, I talk about what breed are you? Because I directly relate them to dogs, specific breeds. It helps us understand where we fit, and it just makes it simple. It makes it easy. It makes it memorable, and also kind of detaches a little bit so we don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm a retriever, for example. What do you got? What do you got? Do you have a retriever?
This is
Love it.
Henry. He was my director of marketing for
Ah,
14 years. I
that's so
love that you said
perfect.
that. Okay, so how many breeds are there?
4.
Four. Okay. So you're a retriever. What are the other
I'm a retriever.
three? And then can you break them down?
Well, let me explain what a retriever is first. We'll go there,
Sure.
and then I'll jump into the other. So one of the things about a retriever is our superpowers are really understanding people. We're really great at listening, building that relationship. We help people feel seen and heard and understood. Uh, so that superpower is really like, just, I'm not going to rush you. I'm going to listen. I'm going to understand exactly where you're coming from. And what makes that so powerful in business is because when it comes time to make that invitation, and it's never an ask, it's an invitation.
Ooh.
The other person's like, please, how do I do this? Like it
Yeah.
feels, it will, warm and fuzzy and perfect, like a perfect fit. Our weaknesses, though, is that we're most afraid that someone's going to think we're just using that relationship for our own gain.
Oh my God, I'm such a retriever. I just want everybody to love me and pet me and also give me large checks.
Right? That's actually what I say all the time. When I do workshop on this, I'd be like, as a retriever, I just want everyone to love me. Like
Yeah.
that's just where I am.
Is that so hard?
Yeah. Now it's on a grid, and when I work with clients, I go even deeper. I go even deeper into the breed. There's what I call archetypes within each breed as well. But in these workshops, I keep it simple in these breeds. So the next one would be the German Shepherd. Now, a German Shepherd has some of the same strengths as a Retriever in the fact that they're really good at listening. They're really good at going deep. They build trust because they're trustworthy in everything they do. They're consistent. They're reliable. They're loyal. They build a referral network and they guard it. They make sure that if they're going to refer you, they have to know that you're going to do everything that you promise. And so when a German Shepherd gives you a referral, you're like, this person's taking care of me.
Yeah.
And when you get referred to somebody, you can sense it right away. You're like, this person is trustworthy. And so with the German Shepherd, one of their greatest weaknesses is being afraid to push or make an ask that may come across as it's similar to retriever, self-serving, but
Hmm.
because they're going against the very thing that makes them trustworthy. Like, oh,
Right.
you just want this because you'll make up things. What a salesperson is, the negatives of a salesperson, they
Hmm.
never want to be associated with that.
Right. Because they hold the whole relationship at such high esteem.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So next we have Dobermans.
Okay.
Now Dobermans are precise, professional. They want to make sure they do everything right. They're very much about the expertise. and
Right.
they'll tell you to you straight. They don't sugarcoat nothing. You could tell a Doberman because they usually don't have a filter on their face.
Yep.
Um,
I know a
and
few.
yeah, and like small talk can be really challenging for a Doberman.
Yeah.
And never ever question their authority, because that actually is the thing that someone is going to think that they're not competent and capable of doing what they promise they can do.
I so want to quote Cartman from South Park, but I cannot do it justice. So I just, yeah, I shouldn't have even brought it up. But yes, they need to respect the Doberman's authority.
Yes, right.
Okay, got it.
And then the fourth one, and these are the ones that make the most natural salespeople. Huskies.
Okay.
And I see a lot of huskies in the speaker space. Huskies are the inspiration of the room. They are big energy. They get people up, they get people moving, they get people taking action.
Okay.
Huskies are not afraid to make an ask because they know they've got something that you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you already doing? Why aren't you already doing it? Now, a husky's biggest fear is that you're not going to believe they're real, that you're going to question their authenticity,
Mm.
because sometimes they're seen as performing.
I'm thinking of a perfect example of that right now, and I don't quite trust him. I'm just like,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. Does he really believe all this stuff? He's a hype man. Does he really believe
mm-hmm.
it, or is he like a P.T. Barnum, just
Yeah.
selling snake
Hus-
oil?
yeah. And huskies make really good traditional salespeople, because they get you excited, they get you to take action, but you're not always sure you can trust them,
Right.
because you're not sure if it's just they're just following a company line, for example. And wow, when we go back to like hiring your salesperson, when a business owner who could be any of these types goes, I need to get someone to bring me business, their first thought is, again, the corporate example of a salesperson, smile and dial, be in every room. Who are they going to hire? They're going to hire a husky if they go after that model. And that husky may not be the right person for their audience and may not exhibit the values of the company.
Okay, this is so good. This is so good. Okay, so I'm thinking let's see, the Doberman is the one who's very precise, doesn't like small talk. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, like, generally speaking, that's a great fit in a very technical space or like a manufacturing space where every detail
Mm-hmm.
is extremely important and can cost millions.
Yes. Yes.
And it's depending on who's on the other end as
Mm-hmm.
well. So are there do customers kind of fit into these same buckets as
Yes.
well? And I
Yes.
imagine there are some that just don't gel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
What's So here's an interesting example. I was working with a client of mine the other day. We actually did what I call a trust style assessment, where I figured out what their trust style breed was along with their archetypes. We went even deeper. This gentleman works in real estate and investing, and he happens to be a German Shepherd. And what was really interesting is because a lot of both investors and real estate people, more often than not, are either husky. Well, a lot of real estate people are huskies, because they have to, be out there meeting all the people. And it's a
Mhm.
high commodity space. There's a lot of competition. And then
Yes.
investors, more often than not, are going to be Dobermans. Like, what's that bottom line? I'm about that bottom line.
Yeah.
And here he
Don't
is
give me
as
the
a German
hype.
Shepherd. Yeah. And
Excuse
here
me.
he is as a German Shepherd who is softer, calmer, more relatable. So he won't show up in the rooms with the same kind of large energy, but actually that'll make him stand out. It's that small is your superpower, because people are tired of the big energy. They're tired of the hype man. They want someone who's like, listen, I know you've been told XYZ before. I'm going to tell you that's not what you should be doing. When he
I
talks
love
with someone
that.
who's looking at houses, he's like, and they're like, I want to go look at these 15 houses. He goes, do you really want to go look at 15 houses today? Or do you want to find the five that actually fit what you're looking at, or the three that are actually fitting what you're looking for?
Yeah.
because I know what you need. I don't want you wasting your time going to all these houses. This one doesn't work because of this. This one doesn't work because of this. Let's find the ones that do.
I love that. And whereas the Doberman will just be like, no, we're not doing that.
Pretty much. They're like, and and all of these, I mean, there's negatives that any of us can have, no matter which
Sure.
breed we are.
Yeah.
But it helps us understand where our superpowers are, where to lean in, and where to help our particular strengths shine. When I'm talking with a business owner and I'm like, okay, this is your breed. Do you do networking for your business? Yes. Where do you network at? Let's say it's a retriever. Oh, I go to the big chamber events on a monthly basis. Why are you there? Well, because the big people are there. Do you get to talk to the people? Well, yeah, kind of. Do you like it? Exactly. You're not shining in that room. Don't be in that room. We need to get you in the right rooms, in the right spaces where your particular personality, you're calm, like I'm listening to you. I like that. I want to, like, I got you. We can do this. It's okay. Tell me what you're struggling with. That's the spaces you need to be in where you can do that. Not these rooms full of energy and noise.
Look at my face. I've got like a or I've got like a golden retriever like smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, not the big room. Give me the other kind. So,
Yeah.
where do golden retrievers do their best networking? Because I love like a one-on-one coffee.
Yes. So you start out with groups where you can go deeper, not wider.
Hmm.
I mentioned I'm on the board for the National Association of Women Business Owners here in Columbus. I think I mentioned that. Anyways, that's a space that I love suggesting for my retriever friends because I'm like, you come to a luncheon and you sit at a round table with a handful of people. Just just focus on those people at your table. Don't try to meet everybody in the room. That's the husky. Just focus on those 4 or 5 people at your table. And then find the ones that already immediately vibe with you
Yeah.
because that's who you need to be with is people that vibe with you. And
Hmm.
then reach out and connect for coffee and build that relationship. And those people will connect you with other people. You don't have to be in every room and in every minute of the day running around the city trying to help everyone know who you are. Again, that's the husky energy.
Yeah. The husky wants to close you before lunch is over.
Mhm.
And there are industries for that, and that's, yeah, nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
for me, yeah, the value is in, okay, I want to know the person. I want to know what keeps them up at night. I want to, form an actual relationship.
Hmm.
I hate the hit and run, you
Yes,
know, it's,
exactly.
yeah. Okay, so you said
Hmm.
there are archetypes within each breed. How many archetypes is,
There are 16 total, so 4 in each of the breeds.
okay, and so you can really go deep. I was thinking this is kind of like disc, but with the archetypes, this goes a lot deeper
Yes.
than that.
It's
And
actually built on the foundation of disc.
okay,
So
yep,
it
I can
has
see
that
where that
foundation.
this is so
Yeah.
much more fun. This is so much more fun than disc. Okay.
Yeah. When
Okay,
I
so
designed the dogs, I got really excited. The breeds, I got really excited because I recognized how sticky this was.
yeah.
Because not only do we remember who we are, we can then go, wait, like you already said it, like, oh, I can think of somebody who matches that. And we need to know that when we're talking with somebody, who's our ideal client, who's our audience, who are we talking to? We need to be able to identify them so we know what they need in the moment.
So
So it's not
when
just
somebody
intro.
like us, when a small business owner is looking to hire a salesperson, is it, I would think that you said like they think of that corporate husky type, which was what I did the first time around. Now I think I would look for somebody who's more like me. Would
Mm-hmm.
that be a plus or a minus? Because if they're too much like me, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and that's one of the things. It's like firstly, you need to recognize who's gonna match, who's gonna vibe with you best. You could work with a husky. As a retriever, you can work with a husky. You just have to give them guidance.
Yeah.
Think of the husky. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of like when they're hooking up huskies to a sled, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Let's go." they're just chomping to the bit. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
If you hire a husky and you're a retriever, then you have to kind of step a little harder into this more assertive kind of leader traits of like, I'm the sled dog leader. You follow me. Let me show you what this looks like. And then once they get it down, you let them go, and they'll get it done.
Yeah.
But you have to guide them. You have to be that sled dog first. If if you're a husky type yourself, hire another husky can be good. But sometimes there can be a little scuffle, like who's in charge.
Yeah.
If you were to hire a retriever, one of the things that would be important for them to know is, how do I guide people through this process? Because retrievers, like I mentioned earlier, tend to be more reactive than proactive.
Yeah.
They'll be proactive when they know how to do it genuinely. So it
Yes.
doesn't trigger that fear of being manipulative of the relationship.
Yes, 1,000%. So, give me an example of maybe somebody that you've worked with who you help them kind of discover their style, their breed, their archetype, and how that turned out.
Mm-hmm. So I got to work with a woman who was a salesperson within a company. She had a really unique role because she did more client work than client development. So she worked with a lot of people who were already working with the company. Uh, to give you a more specific, she did furniture design, like offices that were getting office desks and all of that. So she'd come in and help them figure out like what's the layout, what supplies you need, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So she would help them on that journey, but she was also expected to go out and find clients for it. Now, one thing we talked about pretty quickly was that's a long sales cycle.
Yeah.
This is not someone you walk up to be like, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I help you design your office." This isn't like solopreneur. She's working with big offices,
Right.
So they have to get to know you. You have to be in the right time, right place, right time, and that doesn't happen by accident. It's because you've been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a shepherd personality. So one of the things we talked about was, where do you get in those spaces to build those relationships on purpose that isn't that pushy, husky energy? How can you do that? And also, how do you communicate with your leadership that you're doing the work? How do you show metrics that you're
Yeah.
being successful when it takes so long to make a customer?
Right.
Because that's the metric that most business owners are counting. How many customers did you make for me? But if you have a long sales cycle, and B2B service based in particular, can be a really long sales cycle.
Oh,
How
for
do you
sure.
track what's being successful before you get to the client? So we work on all of this. And one thing she told me was, she's like, you help me better understand who my customers are, where to find them, and where to focus my time and attention.
Yeah. She's already split because she's having to do the design, but she also
Mm-hmm.
has to, it's the whole life cycle of the sales cycle, really. She's from
Yes.
start to finish. And so yeah, she's going to be divided. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another point. I just real quick to make a note. When I'm working with a business owner who's looking to hire, I'm like, what exactly are you asking of them? Is it just like go find people who are remotely interested and then you pass them off to the business owner? Or you go find people and develop them, and then when they're ready to say yes, you pass them off? Are they staying with them? Like, what's that whole journey? And
yeah,
what are they expected to cover? And when does the pass off, and how does the pass off happen? And how do you make sure that customer feels supported the whole way through? Like, there's
yeah.
so much to make sure it's covered, that as a business owner, you need to do all the things, you know it.
This is making so much sense. So for the past 10, excuse me, 10 years, I have been working with Rachel, who is a part-time sales assistant, but basically she prospects and builds relationships. She does the initial outreach that I just think is cringe. And then she builds the relationships. And as soon as they say, yeah, I might be interested, then she facilitates an introduction for me, which feels so much more natural and comfortable for me. And then I get to take that and build that even further. So it's already established. I know they're interested in me. I don't have to be pushy. I don't have to, and she loves that part of it. She's so good at it, which is why we've worked together for so well for 10 years. And the handoff, just, I really appreciate that. So that's kind of a different selling situation where you were saying, like, what is that person's job? And that works so well for us because we figured out where the handoff should occur. So it's not too early or too late.
Yeah.
And she gets to do her part, which she does beautifully. And I get to do the part I love, which is, okay, I want to figure out now that you've shown an interest and I might be a good fit. Let me figure out what's going on with you, with your audience. Where are they struggling? And I get to dive deeper than I could if it were just the first time I met somebody,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Now, which of the dog breeds do you think she fits into?
she's absolutely not a Doberman. I think she's a German Shepherd. She's not super aggressive like a husky. I think she's a German Shepherd.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that's, I think, why we get along, because she's a German Shepherd. I'm a Golden Retriever. I love this so much. It's so fun to talk about. And it's so much more memorable than the disc stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is so good. Okay, so I know the burning question people have is how do they figure out what their breed is if there's, I mean, they probably already have figured out their main breed, but
hmm
how can they figure out, how can they go deeper?
hmm So I love to tell people a good way to kind of start with this is I have a little trust styles quiz, and it will direct you towards one of the breeds, one of those four breeds. I always love to give a little caveat. We all answer quizzes a little bit differently. And a lot of
Yeah.
times we answer the quizzes on how we think we should show up.
Yes.
But it can give you some, it's I love how accurate it can be depending on, just try to answer as truthfully as you can. It'll give you some direction. It might point you in, like say, maybe I'll think you're a husky and you're like, maybe we're a retriever. But you can see the information. You can see like what does the different dogs look like? What does it look like when it comes to selling for this person? Whether,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, husky makes sense for me, or maybe I'm more Doberman or whatever it is. And then you get to learn more about what an assessment looks like as well. So when I do an assessment with somebody, it's a conversation like this. And I'm just asking you, like, what do you love about your business? What do you struggle in your business? And I can hear the nuances of like both how you think, but also how you show up for people. And that's what I'm looking for because how you show up is how you will build trust. Like I said, a retriever can walk in a room and just by the nature of like their presence with that individual person builds trust. That's why that person feels seen and heard so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people get on Zooms with me and like start spilling their guts in 5 minutes.
Same girl. I love it. I love that.
And it's because our presence is there. And not that others can't do that as well, but it's not the first thing. Now,
No, and it's
like,
not their priority necessarily.
yeah, well, that Doberman, that level of precision, they walk in the room and people are like, she's got her stuff together. And if
Mm-hmm.
I need anything around her realm, I trust her with it. Like it exudes confidence
Yeah.
and expertise.
Yeah.
So that helps. And when we go into the archetypes, I get to dig in deeper. I get to talk specifically to like your business, your skill set. Like where should you focus your time and attention to be more effective? And not just effective, because like effective is good, but like uh focused and to like is your goal you want to expand your team, is your goal that you want to have more clients, like what is your goal? Let's figure what are the immediate wins you can do right now to get to move that way, and then what's those long-term sustainable goals to get there.
Yeah. Like I said, I just want everybody to like me. I'm a terrible closer. Because I don't want to break the love cycle, the trust, all that stuff. So yeah, I need your help. So where can people find the quiz?
Yeah, so you can go to thesalesmystique.com/quiz
Okay, and we will
and
put
take
that
a
in the
step
show
in it.
notes as well. So that's where they can take the quiz. And if they want to do an assessment with you, what's the easiest way for them to get that set up?
Yeah. So if you want to take the quiz first, you'll get information in your emails about that assessment. But if you're like, listen, I already know that's what I want to do, I have a link on my website where you can schedule a call with me so we can figure out exactly what that looks like and how to get you started. I love to have that first conversation. Like I could send you to a button and you can pay money, but I want to make sure we vibe and you know what you're getting out of it first.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I just had a Zoom this morning with somebody who wanted me to coach them with something, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, I need to make sure that this is a good mutual fit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
is the money lovely? Yes, the money's lovely, but if I'm not going to be a good fit for you, then that's just a no-go for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I love that you do that too. We're such golden retrievers. Um, so now the last question, I don't know which way you're going to go on this, but this is a very important question. Cats or dogs?
Hold on, hold on. Come here, come here. I'm sorry, I'm waking you up from your nap. If I have to pick, I'm gonna go with kitty cats all day long.
Okay, I need to end this conversation immediately. I am so sorry, but you are no golden retriever. Actually, you totally are, because golden retrievers a lot of times get along with cats. Okay, so Raven, okay, whatever. We'll allow it. I love that she's a black kitty too. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Bethany George from the Sales Mystique. I appreciate it. And I love this personally. So I hope our listeners really reach out and go deeper with you, because this is a whole new way for me to think about this. And I just have to say, where were you in 2009? That's what I want to know.
I, I was still selling and figuring out why I wasn't working at the time. I was,
I can't even imagine what I would be doing now if that consumer show turned out to be a success. But I love what I'm doing now so much. So,
that's one of
yay!
the things, sometimes those failures happen for a reason.
Exactly. Well, thank you for being the person who can help people like me to avoid sales failures and sales hiring failures going forward. So, thanks for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
And this has been Underestimated. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Underestimated, hosted by Shawna Suckow. To connect with Shawna, go to thebuyerinsider.com.